Apple could ditch its annual hardware and software upgrade cycle in favor of unsteady releases, possibly aiming to deliver polished products. Apple has been very consistent over the past few years when it comes to its annual hardware and software releases, but it appears that the company will move away from this approach, possibly to make them more stable and error-free. A prominent analyst has detailed in a new report that the company could move towards staggered hardware and software releases, and Apple Intelligence is a perfect example of the company's route towards unsteady releases. Analyst speculates that Apple could move away from its annual software and hardware releases, adopting an unpredictable approach. Mark Gurman points out in his latest Power On newsletter that Apple could move towards an unpredictable release cycle for its hardware and software. The analyst claims that Apple Intelligence release is evidence that the company is ever so slightly moving away from its big fall launch for hardware and software. Apple Intelligence is the company's latest service, and it is advertised for the latest iPhone 16 and the forthcoming MacBook Pro models. The new i features are the highlight of Apple's iOS 18 and other updates, and they currently rest in the beta phase, only available to developers for testing purposes. The company will release the first wave of Apple Intelligence features with iOS 18.1, which is expected to arrive on October 28. However, some of the additional features that make up Apple Intelligence will be spread out throughout various updates for iOS 18. This means that all of the new i features that Apple announced at its WWDC event will be announced later in 2025. Apple could follow the same approach in the future, announcing products and services ahead of time and then taking its time to release them. While the approach is not wrong, per se, it eliminates the hype surrounding the product or service. It could also impact product sales, as some of the software features are tied to the hardware release. Take the iPhone 16, for instance. The devices were announced as Apple Intelligence ready, yet the service is not available even a month after the release. The company's approach also makes sense, as timely rollouts build pressure and deliver unfinished products. The company pulled back 3 updates, iPadOS 18, watchOS 11.1, and HomePod 18.1, as the software had various issues. We have to note that only some products could be affected by the company's potential approach. The annual iPhone release cycle will continue to exist, but for some products like Macs and iPads, the company could take the time to release a finished product. The Apple Watch SE is another example of an unsteady release. The wearable was not upgraded this year, and it has been 3 years since the current version was announced. Instead, the company announced a new Apple Watch Ultra, which was previously not part of the schedule. It remains to be seen what the company's plans are, and the final word rests with Apple. Note that these are mere speculations, and the company could adopt a different approach altogether.